Good evening, dear friends. I hope you're all doing well. Let us do today's mitzvah. Brand new mitzvah for today, the 71st day. This is good. We're making good headway. And a new mitzvah. So we began a few days ago, 2 days ago, the new book of the Rambam, and we're learning about marriage, about the mitzvah of getting married. There's a mitzvah to get married. And we basically learned that marriage is not just a social construct. It's not just a human construct. It is most fundamentally, for the Jewish people, a divine construct. Getting married is a divine act, and it has to be done according to halacha with the ksuba. And in order to create a kiddushin, which takes a man and a woman who are strangers and truly brings them together, and only then could there be intimacy on a physical level, on an emotional level, on a spiritual level. This is what binds the two people together. And there needs to be kiddushin, and that kiddushin, the marriage, the Jewish marriage, is a mitzvah. And today we have the next mitzvah, which is that it is forbidden for a man and a woman to be intimate, to be physically intimate, without getting married, without a kiddushin, without a ksuba. And this is what the verse says, Le'isiyah kadesha mibnei Yisrael, and there shall not be a prostitute amongst Jewish women. And what the Rambam is basically implying is that you could have, and this is what, the Rambam goes into the nitty-gritty of these laws. You could have a couple who plans on getting married, who thinks they're married, but if it wasn't done according to the way to get married, the procedure of getting married, which means the mitzvah wasn't done, that means that this couple is not actually married. If the kiddushin is not valid, if there's no real kiddushin. And if there's no real kiddushin, then that means it's an act of prostitution. This is not a kosher relationship. And for that reason, halacha gets very detailed into making sure that what is considered a marriage, what is not considered, what didn't meet the threshold of being a kosher marriage. And that is very, very critical, that everybody has a kosher marriage in their personal family life within their marriage. The Rambam continues and says that there's also an additional verse in the Torah, Al techalel es bitchel aznesa. Do not violate your daughter to give her over to be a prostitute, to have these illicit relationships. And the Rambam says that even if there's consent, and even if there's this, and even, it doesn't matter what there is. You could have an adult man, an adult woman, fully consensual. Maybe they even plan on getting married, but it doesn't matter. This is a moral, spiritual issue that a man and a woman are not allowed to be intimate outside of wedlock, outside of a kiddushin. Now the Rambam says something very, very interesting, that the reason for this mitzvah is what the verse continues to say immediately after it says this. The verse says that there shall not be a kadesha, that there shall not be a prostitute amongst Jewish women. And then the verse says, Le'sizne ha'aretz. And through this, you shall not defile the land, Umala ha'aretz zima, and you will fill the earth with corruption. Which means, why shouldn't there be a woman and a man who enter into a physical, intimate relationship out of wedlock? Why not? It's fully consensual. So the Rambam says that today we see that amongst the Jewish people, rape and seduction is quite rare. Okay, it happens, but it's a rarity. The Rambam says, you know why it's a rarity? It's a rarity because it is forbidden to be sexually active outside of the proper structure of a marriage. That is why. That's the reason. And the Rambam says that when you make it acceptable amongst people to be intimate and to be sexually active, no problem, and it's with consent and everything is good. But this is not proper. It's immoral. It's not healthy. The Rambam says this directly creates an environment and a society where rape and seduction happen at much higher levels to the point that it becomes normal. You normalize it. And the Rambam says that the way that we create a healthy society amongst people, amongst genders, where there's respect to the intimate sexual lives of individuals, is by doing this mitzvah, like keeping this mitzvah. That any intimacy must happen only and exclusively within the framework of a proper Jewish marriage. That is when it is holy, and that's when it's a mitzvah. Outside, it is immoral and unhealthy, and will cause all types of bad and evil stuff to fester within that society. Dear friends, that is today's Daily Mitzvah. We will see you all very soon for our next Daily Mitzvah. Have a wonderful day and Zag Gesund.